What made you lose respect for someone? My dad moved across the state in the final months of my senior year of high school and told me to sell the house on my own. Mom already did a few months earlier, but she and I sat down and thoroughly talked it through before she made the commitment, and I gave her my blessing. Dad just told me I've got a job interview 3 hours away. If I get the job, I'm moving there and you're going to sell the house. He got the job and left. I sold the house and now have no trust in my father. I fail to see how what he did isn't considered child abandonment. They're double standards. I was dating a guy in high school who had a problem with being bullied by kids that my family is friends with. My sister made a joke about him playing drums, as he was a drummer, and he said, "No wonder you're all friends with the bully family ." He was dumped after dinner. We then, as a family, decided that if we ever want someone to leave the house, we ask when the show The Mole will be back on. That is out cue that we're kicking someone out of the house. Generally, lack of integrity. When they don't respect you back, simple. Deciding that he'd rather play golf than take his only grandson to college. Or the times he would sneak up behind me and scare me while I was playing video games. Or that time he pushed me off the couch. Or the times he would wrestle with me when I was young and leave bruises everywhere. Or the countless times he would act like an ass, get called out, then lecture me about respect. Anyone who tells me that they don't care about what I'm dealing with or going through. Not by strangers, but by people who you were getting fairly along with. You're just dead to me at that point. Here I am trying to respect and care for what the other person goes through, and they say that shit. Well, now I don't have to care. They said Tumblr is better than Reddit. They littered. My boss decided anyone who earns under a threshold in the next year will be sacked. This is a boss who assigns contracts to themselves, and offers no support beyond if you work more you'll earn more money. Learning that they voted for Joe, they started treating me like their sidekick. He was a phenomenon because of his extreme dedication to fight corruption. He was the first politician that moved me so much, to care about politics and to vote. He was such a huge sensation, feared and hated by fellow politicians because he was so stern and so transparent with the public. It was hard to corrupt any money under his ruling. He was not a president, but he had a big enough impact already. People who were tired/scared of him eventually trapped him and sent him to prison. Sealed his fate so he won't ever be a president. I mourned for weeks for the injustice that happened to him. Fast forward. While in prison he accused his wife of cheating. He divorced his wife while still in prison, and what do ya know? Right after he got out of prison, 2 years later, he married the ex-wife's personal assistant, who apparently had been visiting him all the time he was in prison. If that's not so bad, I'll tell you what did it for me: the ages of everyone involved. At the time he got married to the new wife. Great anti-corruption politician, 53 years. Ex-wife, 42 years. First kid with ex-wife, 21 years. Second kid with ex-wife, 18 years. Third kid with ex-wife, 13 years. New wife, 22 years. What a jerk. I lost all respect I had for him and lost interest in politics after that. I dated a girl that was super rude to her mother every time we were around together. Vote and support Trump when they aren't even in the tax bracket that would even in the short term benefit from it, then still not drop him like the radioactive dumpster fire he was after everything he did. Family that still supports him or ever voted for him are dead to me. After years of helping my sister with her bills, $150 car insurance, $120 phone bills, buying tires for her car, help paying to get it out after she had it repossessed. That happened 3 times, and countless money on baby food, milk, diapers, clothes, car seats for her son, spending every day I had off work babysitting her son. I mean thousands of dollars. She couldn't drive me to work one time after my car broke down. It wasn't missing work that mattered, the way she reacted when I asked why would I do that if I can sleep in tomorrow. You're lucky I'm picking you up now, I could just let you sit out here. It was very disappointing, but I learned that no matter how much you do for people it doesn't matter, so I spend my time and money on myself now, and no one expects things from me now or even asked. I feel a lot less stressed. One time back in around 4th to 5th grade, my friend went to go to the washroom. My friend took a while, so me and my other friend moved to the other side of the courtyard. After we sat for a bit, the friend comes out from the washroom. We didn't know, so we continued sitting there. About 2 minutes later we see a group of grade 8 girls who were the friend's older sister's friends. They proceeded to form a circle around me and my other friend, kicking us until I was able to get out and tell a teacher. After that we didn't talk much unless we had to, and that was how I lost respect for her. I lose respect for every ope who only cares about the look. You get older, you may lose your hair, or your hair will be grey in the future. That is live. These are no problems. Just accept it. My mom's cousins who continually tried to push Newsmax, OAN, and Fox News stories on my mom, as well as saying they are the only beacons for truth. They have relented a bit after January 6th, but will still try and push stuff. I have at least got my mom verifying through other news sites with far better reputations. I'm too loyal, to my own detriment, so it hasn't happened yet, even though there have been several instances of shaky behavior. Can an anime character count? I'm watching Gundam Seed ATM, and for some reason Kira having sex with Flay just really freaked me out. I keep telling myself that I'm being silly and unreasonable, but my gut reaction persists and it just freaks me out. Lying. I've had people lie to me about the dumbest things, like calling a kid a twat, Facebook as edit history, or their brother getting a copy of Minecraft personally from Notch because he worked at Microsoft. I think he thought they always owned it. My father telling me it is an obligation for me to maintain him economically and take care of his psychological problems even if it hurts me because we share blood. You can guess how is the relationship going. She was my closest friend back then. She slept around a lot. That wasn't a problem until she went behind my back to sleep with the guys she knew I had a crush on. She even went as far as finding a guy I met on a dating app, flirting with him and sleeping with him the night before I was supposed to go on a date with him. When I confronted her about it, she admitted she seen me as competition when it came to men and dating. Unwillingness to apologize. Nothing shows more contempt for your fellow human than not being able to say I'm sorry, that was wrong for me to do. Someone was spreading bullshit to try and cause problems between me and my friend. My friend knew what was said wasn't true but still was defending the person telling them and treating me like I was being an asshole for having a problem with it, saying I was being over the top, etc. Might not be the worst thing ever, but that was something I couldn't personally tolerate. My wife cheating on me. They made Gacha NSFW. Them being a horrible liar. The pandemic. So many people I previously thought were decent refusing to take basic measures to prevent anything. Having parties, gatherings. One even had people over when her husband had symptoms. And then her husband didn't quarantine because better they all get sick at once, and the husband had a mild case so they probably would too. Fuck. Mom told my grandmother, who just came out of hospital after a week of dialysis because her kidneys were shutting down, that it was my grand's fault for taking all the pills the doctor prescribed for her. Further went on to say that we don't have to let him know he was killing her kidneys or report him because, like she said, it was my grand's fault. The moment they open their mouth. Had a friend post a lot of anti-BLM stuff on Facebook last summer. Both her and her husband are cops, but they had always seemed very open to the idea that racist cops exist and that the system they worked within was in need of serious reform. Her husband had always been very much about the thin blue visuals, but I had deluded myself into believing they were working towards a better police force. When she posted a rant about the shooting of Rayshard Brooks and said his death was justified because the cop was scared I was done. Removed her from all socials after posting a lengthy rant of my own. Her husband, as I learned that day, had already blocked me at some point before, which was a surprise, but whatever. Her attitude really pushed me further into the ACOB mentality. I struggle with that belief as I interact with cops on a daily basis at my job, and many of them I enjoy and get along with, but the comply and survive bullshit really does not sit well with me. An ex-friend of mine began cheating on their significant other too. Fully expected me to cover for them. He called his girlfriend a crazy bitch.